question about gas and where we're going to get it from, because what hasn't been mentioned here is that you're using more gas to produce less energy. That's indisputable with hydrogen, with blue hydrogen. The government are putting through 43 oil applications at the moment, when we all know we should be stopping that. ENI, one of the partners in this, 2 weeks ago opened a ruble account so they can trade with Russia, contrary to EU regulation. ESA, with Russia, the first person Putin started speaking to when Europe saying we're going to find a way not to take your gas anymore was India. So, two of your partners are intrinsically linked with Russian gas. So what are alternatives? Are going to be domestic gas? We're going to be reintroducing, green patriotic fracking to fill this up. We need more for less. So where are we going to get it?
Nice easy question. Anyone want to tackle that one?
I'll start with the fracking bit of it. We had a landmark case actually in Cheshire West where we stopped fracking going ahead. So I can't see fracking happening anywhere in Cheshire West, or I think Cheshire East, but certainly in Cheshire West. The rest of it, I'm afraid, I can't respond, and probably John's going to have to think about an answer to that. But there's so many things I think that are put in the way of stopping us from moving forward, and we have to keep moving forward and finding solutions. But I agree with Paul, that is an issue that we need to talk about, I think. But there won't be any fracking in Cheshire West. No patriotic fracking of any sort.
John or Sam?
Go on, Sam. Almost to echo what Louisa said, although I keep being told by our planning department, do not make definitive statements, because it could end up with you ending up with a judicial review. So I would say, I think it would be very unlikely that fracking would be supported within Cheshire East, and we're currently developing our policies on that. In terms of where we get the gas from, well, as domestic gas usage reduces, as I hope it will, as we move over to heat pumps, that will reduce the gas demand, and the medium term would be we should be moving from blue hydrogen to green hydrogen. The other issues you were mentioning, sorry, I forgot. Sorry, can you remember what the other issues you were raising?
Well, we're increasing gas demand generally, so even if this project runs exactly as he says it is, which I have massive reservations about, someone else will be using that gas from Russia. So it all plugs in to using more. It means keeping the fossil fuel industry alive, stealing decades, taking profits, taking enormous bonuses, while the global south starves.
Okay. I think I've given the answer to that in the previous answer, but I don't know whether John wants to come back on some of those points.
Sure. So
I think you're on. Are you going?
okay. So Paul, look, I know you don't agree with HyNet. We've spoken many times and fully understand and respect that. We have to get on and tackle this problem. And nobody would be happier than me to see people coming forward with other credible, financeable solutions. But at the moment, HyNet is getting on and doing it, and there are similar cluster projects elsewhere in the country. If there's a better solution, bring it forward, get it designed, get it consented, get it financed, get it built. The way to solve the problem isn't by attacking solutions. The way to solve the problem is bring forward solutions. That's what HyNet is doing. I already said earlier it's not perfect. We would all love perfection. I haven't actually yet ever seen a perfect technology. If anyone can describe one to me, I'd be interested to see it. And gas isn't the constraint. We won't be doing blue hydrogen forever. We all know that, we've talked about that, there will be a transition. The gas is available to make the blue hydrogen, otherwise we wouldn't be investing in the plants. So we can access the gas. We're already working with National Grid on the supply capacity and so on. So that's not the issue. We're getting on and trying to solve the crisis. So, fine. If there's other solutions, bring them forward and get them financed and built. There is no shortage in this space of room for projects. We're short of good projects. There's plenty of room to come up with alternatives if others have got them.
Gary, did you put your hand up then?
Yeah, how you get rid of gas is you say you're going to get rid of it, and you give a timescale to do it. Many years ago, I worked in Ellesmere Port at Associated Alcatel, who were the last manufacturer of tetraethyl lead. That's the lead that goes in leaded petrol. What the UK did, what Europe did, and said, in 10 years' time, you cannot put lead in petrol. You cannot put lead in petrol. Everyone screamed, said it was impossible, but ultimately Volvo brought out a car with a cat, charged a price premium for it. Ford brought out engines, BP changed their refinery, Shell changed their refinery. And on the day when unleaded petrol was no longer legal, no one noticed. What you do is you set an objective that you are going to do this. You give a time scale by which time you want to do it, which allows enough time to do it, and then you don't flinch. And then you let the market come up with innovative ideas in terms of how to do it. So I firmly believe that if you have a strong direction and a regional one, or ideally a national one, at this point gas we will no longer have, then you won't have it. We've done it before. We did it with leaded gasoline. We've done it with smoking. We've done it with drink driving. We just need to set the objective and not flinch.
Great point. So, Sam, did you want to come in before we move quickly on? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I've remembered the other 2 points I was going to make. Firstly, what Gary said on government intervention. Gas boilers are being phased out. I think that's great. I think it's insane that we're currently building new houses with gas boilers in them and with insulation standards that means they're going to have to be retrofitted within 5 years. The other point I want to make is a point Mark Carney made to the Bank of England about stranded assets. I think it's insane that we're developing new oil fields now, because even if you take up all the oil fields that are already in existence or have already been discovered across the world, that adds up to more than the amount that we can possibly develop without breaching the climate change targets that we've agreed. So that gives rise to what's called stranded assets. Of the oil companies have assets on their balance sheets that are undeveloped oil fields. They're valued, but they're worthless because they can never be developed. It's just that each individual oil company denies that it's their oil fields that are the stranded assets. But across all the oil companies, there are stranded assets. And that is going to cause a problem. So why on earth we're developing new oil fields, I don't know. And that's a very strong argument against fracking.